Welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices, the podcast dedicated to bringing you diverse, innovative leadership insights and actionable strategies for success. Join hosts Laura McNeil and Bob Medeiros as they explore the art and science of role model leadership through thought-provoking conversations with real professionals. Whether you're a seasoned leader or aspiring to excellence, Sterling Visionary Voices is your guide to navigating the complexities of your leadership journey.
Well, hello and welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices. I'm your host, Bob Medeiros, and today my guest is Monique Akanbi, Society for Human Resource Management certified professional and a field service director for SHRM. She was recently named one of Tallahassee's 25 Women to Know. Monique, welcome. I'm so glad you could join me on Visionary Voices.
Thank you for having me, Bob. I'm really excited to join this conversation with you today.
Excellent. Well, let's start. You've certainly made a splash in the human resource field. Tell me, Monique, how did you actually get started in HR as a career?
Well, I started my HR career. I often say that I didn't choose HR chose me, but I knew from a child, being the oldest of 8 children, that I loved people. I was a very responsible person and felt the need or the pleasure of seeing others around me grow and flourish, whether that was my siblings or family members or individuals that I worked with. And so I started my HR career out at Miami-Dade County Public Schools in their risk and benefits management department. And after a few years of practicing HR in the public school district, and then moving or transitioning or relocating actually out of Miami to Orlando, and then ultimately Tallahassee, I decided to make HR my career. I practiced it for several years, and I truly found that this is my niche. I enjoyed seeing others around me grow and develop, and then I also enjoyed felt a sense of pride in seeing my organization thrive and move forward and fulfill their mission and vision.
Wow, that's really impressive. Well, since the pandemic, there's been a lot of talk about the impact of mental health on the workplace, anxiety, depression. Your topic of a holistic approach to a mental health friendly workplace is intriguing. Tell me more about it.
Well, Bob, mental health has emerged as one of the critical issues of our time, and has been only compounded with, or has only been compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. But the renewed visibility of equity and social justice and an economic recession, it's important to know that every individual, especially in the workplace, has a mental health status. And so just as every individual has an age or a race, mental health can be viewed as this expansive continuum, between good mental health and also serious mental illness. And what employers have seen, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic, is that there is an importance to focus on mental health in the workplace, to eliminate the stigma of having that conversation around my mental health status, how I'm feeling in this moment, the things that I am dealing with as a human being, and how my employer, in treating me as a whole individual, not just an employee, but sometimes even as a mom or a father or a husband or a wife or even a caretaker for either a parent or a child, how they can support me in my mental health status in that moment while also being a thriving employee within the workplace.
Oh, that's really interesting. I love how you recognize and or word it as really a continuum of mental health status, from good mental health to less than good mental health, and all that in between. What would you say are some steps that leaders can take to kind of recognize and take action to improve the work-life experience based on the mental health situation of their employees?
Yeah. Um, Bob, that's a good question. I think the first thing, it's important to note that there is a difference between mental health and well-being and mental illness. And oftentimes employers um, shy away from this topic because there is that confusion or that misconception of mental health equaling mental illness. And there's
Mm.
completely a difference between the two, right? So the mental health and well-being is how I'm feeling in this moment, maybe some things that I am dealing with, whereas mental illness is a diagnosis by a medical professional. And so oftentimes employers immediately think of mental illness when we're discussing or when they're considering mental health and well-being strategies. And so first and foremost, it's important to note the difference between the two. But some strategies that employers can consider or even implement is one, taking a customized approach to mental health in the workplace with their employees. The SHRM Foundation, which is the philanthropic arm of SHRM, the 501c3 charitable organization of SHRM, conducted research and a couple of years ago hosted a mental health in the workplace summit. And from that summit, there were a few strategies that were shared. And one of those strategies being that employers need to have as much of an important focus on health benefits or physical health benefits as mental health benefits. And so a lot of times you see employers implement strategies around physical health, right? Whether that is a wellness program to promote walking or healthier eating, but companies must treat mental health with the same priority as they treat physical health. Also, employers, I really need to work at eliminating the stigma around mental health conditions. And it starts at the top. It starts at your C-suite executives and your leaders within your organization, and really creating a psychologically safe environment to where employers or employees feel safe and comfortable to share where they are in their mental health status. Not saying that they have a mental illness, which is very different, but in this moment saying, I am not okay in this moment, that I am dealing with a lot, that I am maybe caring for an elderly parent, or I have a child that has a disability, or maybe I'm going through a divorce, or I'm struggling in my family life, to be able to show up at work and share that I'm dealing with some things as an individual, and know that my employer has created a psychologically safe environment for me to be able to share that information, but then take it a step further, to utilize the resources that my employer has provided me. And then also, employers need to tailor mental health outreach to meet the needs of their diverse workforce populations. Oftentimes, we see employers offer the traditional employee assistance or programs, EAP programs. But if you think about the diverse population of, if employers think about the diverse population of their workforce, um, some of the mental health strategies or resources that they provide them may not be culturally accepted by that group of employees. I often share the story of being a Black female growing up in my family. I come from a very Christian and Bible-based family. And so the thought of speaking with a therapist or having that conversation of speaking with a therapist was very taboo. For us, we grew up, if we had a problem or if we were dealing with the life circumstance, we prayed, and that was the way we dealt with it. And
Mhm.
so, if you think about all my life as a child growing up with that strategy of, if I am dealing with life events that my primary source is to pray. And then I enter into the workforce where my employers are encouraging therapy, or their only solution is through the EAP program. And to provide me with a therapy session, that may not be well received. And so what employers really need to or should consider is to tailor those mental health outreach benefits to the diverse needs of their diverse workforce population. And that looks different. But it starts by knowing the diversity of your workforce, and also what support as it relates to the mental health arena do employees want or see or need. And then it's also important for employers to establish measurement tools to track and improve their company's performance as it relates to mental health. That could be absenteeism in the workplace, that could be productivity. A lack of focusing on mental health in the workplace could lead to a paralysis of innovation, right? We know that when individuals show up and are able to be their whole self and are operating in a healthy mental health space, they are more likely to be innovative, to think outside the box and really move the organization forward. So those are just a few strategies that employers can consider when thinking about mental health in the workplace, and things that they can do to support their workforce.
Very good. Well, let's see. Do you have any suggestions on where I, as a leader, can go next to learn more about this, or be able to develop myself my mindset better towards addressing this?
Oh, absolutely. There's a plethora of resources, but I would be remiss if I did not share the resources that SHRM provides and the SHRM Foundation. Through extensive research, the SHRM Foundation offers a wide vast of resources as it relates to mental health in the workplace, but they also offer a mental health ally certificate. It is a certificate, it's a series, a self-paced online course that individuals can participate in and engage in, and it gives strategies on how to be a mental health ally within the workplace. So that would be a good starting point. Again, there's a ton of resources that are available either through the SHRM website or the SHRM Foundation, and that's SHRM.
Excellent. Well, Monique, this has all been really great. I personally have learned a lot from just these few minutes talking. I also understand that you may be delivering a workshop at the Sterling Leadership Conference in Orlando later on next month, I guess. And you'll be sharing a little bit more about this very topic, right?
Absolutely. I will go into greater detail around how employers can create that mental health friendly workplace, and share some of the strategies that I just shared with you, Bob.
Well, excellent. Well, Monique, thank you. I really want to thank you for sharing today. I feel this is a topic that's very timely and can be very helpful for leaders kind of at any level that are really working to enhance their performance and the performance of their organization. A little birdie told me that you're also one of the hosts of the Honest HR podcast through SHRM. I guess that's probably true.
That is true. I am a host. I just actually recorded a session around empathy in the workplace, which is also a component of mental health. So it all works together: empathy, mental health, diversity, equity, and inclusion, workplace culture. But I just recorded a session on empathy in the workplace. And so I encourage those to listen to that as well.
Well, fantastic. And folks, you can actually find that at shrm.org/honesthr to learn more about what great information you're sharing on the podcast there. Similarly, for more information on the Sterling Leadership Conference, go to thesterlingconference.com. Monique, it's truly been a pleasure talking with you this morning, and I really want to thank you.
Well, Bob, there's no other way to start your morning than a conversation with you. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. And until next time, this is Bob Medeiros with the Sterling Visionary Voices.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Sterling Visionary Voices, Insights for Role Model Leadership from the Sterling Council. Discover more and connect with us at sterlingvisionaryvoices.com.